dream. Oh, what am I gonna dream about? I didn't dream all I can dream in life. I'm trying to wake up and live off dreams that people been making all
Hey
life.
everybody, I'm looking at this video right here, talking about the Obamacare RFIDs. Lo and behold, that is the exact same thing after they put in right here. See that hole? That hole right there is from where they gave me an implant. It was a glass implant. It was red and black and had some white in it, alright? It was inside my tooth whenever I got out of federal prison in 1999. I went to dentists and they said they weren't allowed to touch my tooth. I saw the x-ray, saw what it was, got the motherfucker out. So, you know, I'm kind of flipped out, you know, to see that it's the exact same thing that they're using now that they used then. I'm not sure if everybody knows this or not, but all federal inmates released out of prison after the year 2000 all have the RFID chip in them. I didn't think that I was going to get one because I was released in 1999. Well, my dentist was nice enough to point it out to me. You know, I came home, drilled it, pulled it, got all that shit out. This is no lulz thing, there's no joke thing, okay? It is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Every year, y'all should go ahead and EMP yourself just in case you got nailed with one without you knowing it. Okay, because something I'll tell you straight up, I was never under any chair while I was in prison. So how that got there is beyond me. I mean, of course I know how it got there. They knocked me out while I was in my cell. Gassed me up, kept me asleep, drugged me out, and hooked you up and put me back in. It is what it is. But if any of y'all are federal inmates, you'll need to go ahead and have yourself searched, okay? Go get a CAT scan and check to see where they put yours, alright?
We have indoor recreation for our inmates. We have video visiting, which really is all in place to reduce inmate movement throughout the jail. For a long time, our jail was logging information on paper or through manual computer entry. With the size of this facility, it was getting to be very hard to do that. And what we needed was something to capture that information at the point of responsibility. What we found was Guardian RFID. And what Guardian allows us to do is share information about inmates instantly through a wireless network. Everyone that works here loves this technology. The wristbands that we issue the inmates at the time of booking are essential tools to our whole operation that we have here. Information about welfare checks, med passes, inmate movement, all that is captured real time. Our jail offers a lot of programs, and it's important for us to know where those inmates are at a given time. If there's ever a violation, we're notified immediately. Guardian has become so integrated in our facility that it's tough to imagine not working with it. It's our everyday tool that we use to manage this facility. Guardian makes our job efficient, easy, and super fast compared to the old way. I definitely would recommend Guardian RFID to any facility.
Back in '93, Brian Ronke, a 33-year-old Black Brooklyn resident, originally from Guyana, charges that surgeons at Billy Seton Hospital in Staten Island illegally and without his knowledge implanted paramagnetic computer chips in his head and body in October 1987. He has filed a lawsuit in the Eastern District Court charging the U.S. government with conspiracy to commit murder and invasion of privacy for including him in what he believes to be an experimental surveillance and behavioral study program victimizing inmates and possibly other members of the population. Wrong's story starts in 1979 when he was arrested in connection with the armed robbery of an ozone layer, a Brooklyn disco, a crime he claims he did not commit. Some people I was known to be affiliated with in the neighborhood were arrested and charged in connection with the incident, he said. A few days later, I heard the police were looking for me. I went down to the 67th precinct on my own to find out what they wanted, and he was put into a lineup, arrested, convicted, offered to plea bargain for 1 1/3 to 3.5 years, being that I had nothing to do with the crime. I refused, and at that time, I was 2.5 years into a 5-year probation. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring Mr. Rongi onto the show. I believe he's probably on the call now. If Mr. Rongi, if you are on the show, please hit *8 on your telephone so I know that you're here right now. New York caller, is that you, Brian?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. All right. Hold on 1 second, okay? I'm going to mute the board, and then we'll continue.
Well, I was arrested when I was 18 years old by the two mob cops, Anthony Appolito and Vincent Caracappa, who were in the newspaper as the mobster cops, and I was framed for, wrongfully imprisoned. And from that point, I had a private attorney and everything, and it seemed like they had whatever reason that was all about. They had like the chips stacked against me to make sure that I couldn't get out of there, and I was to go into that prison system.
Right. And so in other words, Caracappa and Ippolito set you up to be arrested. That's the first thing that happened?
Yeah, they arrested me fraudulently. I don't know who gave them the orders to do that or what, but that was what happened. Yeah.
So they charged you with robbery at that particular point in time. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
I was reading, in reading your story, they had accused you of robbing a discotheque and they claimed that you heard from what I understand that people were looking for you, so you actually went down to the precinct to find out what it was all about.
Correct.
Okay. Could you tell us what happened there when you went there?
I went to the precinct, and one of the detectives hit me in my eye, bloodshotted, and made me wear a leather jacket in the lineup, which was bolstered. They have the informants that they bring into their false testimony at lineups. And I requested at that time the district attorney for the presence of a lawyer, and they denied me right to counsel right then and there. That whole case should have been thrown out. I went to court. They incarcerated me. I stayed on Rikers Island for approximately 18 months. And then during that process, a lawsuit was filed. A class action suit was filed because of infringements that were perpetrated against myself and other inmates at the C-74 Correctional Facility. And I heard it was settled, and they got me out of there before they settled it, and sent me upstate to my correctional facility. And up to today,
can I step back? I don't mean to interrupt you. Let's step back a second so people can understand. You went down to this precinct house. You were assaulted. They dressed you up and put you in front of a lineup.
Correct.
Then what happened was they brought in people who were alleged witnesses to the robbery, and they had these so-called witnesses point you out as one of the people responsible in the robbery, correct?
Right, correct.
Okay, so after that particular point in time, they arrested you and sent you to Rikers Island for holding, right?
Correct.
That's what happened?
Well, I went to court.
Okay, so you spent 3 years in Elmira. You got a degree. You became an advocate inside the prison for prisoners' rights, and then you were transferred to Arthur Kill Correctional Facility.
Correct.
What happened there?
Down there, I became a part of the inmate liaison committee again. I was trying to get outside parents, and so I could work outside. And
from what I was reading in your report, it said that you were when you were transferred there. You were involved in a dispute with a correction officer who later was rumored to have put a prison contract on you.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us what happened here. You said that while you were at Elmira, you were having problems at the facility.
Right, and then I started getting sick. The next thing you know, I showed him the paper when I was going to college from upstate. I wrote a paper on how we could imitate the human senses using analog devices.
Right.
I showed him that paper. The next thing you know, I'm in the hospital getting sick. Went to the hospital, and Dr. Tarantello, who was the head of the pulmonary clinic at Bailey Seton, who was in charge of the bronchoscopy, which they gave me a general anesthesia for.
Okay.
And then this guy, he showed up on the scene, and that's when that problem started. And the next thing you know, somebody was tampering with my locker, because they used to work on my unit. They go in to have keys to your locker. and I think they were putting some kind of chemical in my food that caused induced respiratory problems.
You began to get sick. You noticed that your locker was being opened or played with. You had suspected that your food may have been tampered with to induce the symptoms. And at that present time, before all this, you were in good health. You didn't have any health problems.
Right.
You used to work out with weights. You had no problems breathing. And you started to get sick. Is that what made you have chest X-rays?
Yeah, they gave me. You want to hear this? I went in for pulmonary. I went in for the pulmonary, right, with Dr. Tarantolo.
Yeah. Now you went to go see. Let's bring this guy out a little bit, because Vincent Tarantolo is somebody who's a pulmonary MD, and Mr. Dr. Vincent Tarantolo works with other hospitals and with other companies regarding what's called BCI, and that's short for brain-computer interface, ladies and gentlemen. And to give you a general idea, brain-computer interface are these implants. A lot of the implants that are put into your body, okay, into your nasal cavity and into other areas of the body, work telemetrically on radio signals. That means they can send signals to the implants and receive information back. Originally, these implants were made and funded for prosthetic use for medical patients. These devices also are being used by agencies within the Department of Justice, like the CIA, and other agencies like the National Institute of Health, and many, many others, which we're not going to get in here tonight because this is Mr. Rongi's story. But this man, Vincent Tarantolo, who he was sent to at Billy Seton Hospital, convinced him of a bronchoscopy, for a diagnostic procedure to detect his problems in the lungs when he complained that he was having problems breathing. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, that's Bailey Seton. It's a military hospital located on Staten Island. I don't know if they still exist, because I heard they had shut down part of it after the investigation started into why they implanted me, and nobody, responded with a proper answers yet.
Okay, so they sent you over to Billy Seton Hospital, which is a military medical facility, which is kind of unusual why they would send a civilian, although you were a prisoner, to a military, hospital. I don't know. I don't know what their reasoning is. I don't know if they have a contract from the prison there or whatever. But you went to see Tarantolo. He convinced you for the need of a bronchoscopy. That's a diagnostic procedure designed to detect problems in the lungs. You decided to enter that hospital to undergo the procedure. Okay, that's what I'm reading here. Now, you said that other patients usually are given a local anesthetic for this procedure, but Tarantolo completely knocked you out, and you awoke on a respirator and into intravenous equipment. Is that right?
That's right.
The pain in your back of your throat that you assumed resulted from a bronchoscopy. The surgeons told you you had suffered a cardiac arrest during the procedure and that the equipment had been used to stabilize you. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. It also said following the hospital incident, it quickly became apparent that you thought something was terribly amiss. You experienced a host of physical disturbances, including dizziness, nausea, incontinence, headaches, along with the inability to sleep. You were suspicious that your body had somehow been tampered with. What did they do?
That's right. That's right.
What made you think that? What made you think your body was tampered with? Because of all the things, the dizziness
all the
and all this?
irregularities I never experienced prior to that operation. It made me feel like I had contracted AIDS or something.
Okay, yeah, you started to feel tired all the time, sick.
Everything all the symptoms of AIDS I experienced due to that implant.
So, and that happened right after this bronchoscopy.
Correct.
So you felt that something wrong had gone there, and there was no reason why you should have been on a respirator or had any of the other further complications because you were a healthy man.
Bronchoscopy is not a technical operation. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You could be awake and have it done, but I didn't know all that. I found
it's a matter. You have to open your mouth and they stick something down your throat. That's it.
That's it.
I mean,
it's a camera, and they just cut a little piece of biopsy the lung, but they had to put me out completely for what the plans they had, which is to cut through the back of my. So now when I got up there, they said that I suffered a brief psychosis when I was isolated in the box, right? In a special housing unit. So they sent me to Central New York Psychiatric Center, and they tried to admit me, but I said no, I'm not signing no admission papers. So I stayed there for like about two weeks. Then they sent me back, and after that they sent me to Fishkill, and they transferred me to Auburn. They said some other prison, but they sent me to a couple of jails before I came home. You know.
Right. Now, were they were obviously observing.
I had some psychiatric observation crap for a while.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they put that mental health thing on me when I came out on parole.
Right. Okay. So in other words, now that they had you implanted, they needed to discredit you as well. So if you went to say anything about exposing what happened to you at what happened to you at Billy Seaton, they would be able to say, well, look, he's diagnosed as mentally incapable and this and that and the other thing. So whatever you said would not be believed. That's why they did that to you. You were released, and at what point after your release did you start to obtain the medical evidence that showed, you have MRIs showing that there's implants and all that? When did all that happen?
As soon as I got out, I couldn't walk around, being a sucker, having people manipulating me and listening to all my private moments and, pressing buttons on me so I can go crazy like a Columbine situation. You understand?
Right. You wanted to fight them. So you wanted to know what they did to you.
But you have operatives out here. There are people who have the same systems and they're working for them to push you to get violent. You understand me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. They want to take you off the street and kill you.
You just try to blackball you. They put a transmitter inside of you, right? And there are certain people that can hear this beeping sound everywhere you go. And then when they hear that sound, they have orders not to violate your civil rights, not to give you what's due to you. You understand me? So that's a mark. You're marked. You have a mark.
Yeah, you're blacklisted. You're put on a list.
Exactly, right. Yeah.
You're put on a list. But let's get to the details of your evidence gathering, I'll call it, okay?
Okay.
Now, you got out of prison. You decided that you've had enough of being attacked. You're hearing voices. They're putting your body in pain. You know you're implanted. You know this. Well, you thought you were implanted, or something that they did to you there was incorrect.
I established that situation before I got out, so that I know once I get out, it's not going to be any story about, this happened. I don't know where it happened. That's why I made sure I exposed before I got out. I let them know. Okay. I wrote to the courts and let them know what they did to me. You understand? The federal courts.
I see. So in other words, you had made complaints while you were still in prison that something happened to you?
I asked for federal order of protection while I was incarcerated.
I see. And that's probably...
Right. I went to the federal court archives, and it's in there. I saw it. When I requested that, the documentation is there. That I asked for protection against the Department of Corrections while I was in there. I was surprised to see it. I thought they would have got that documentation and destroyed it.
I see. So do you think that action was why they decided to transfer you to other facilities so they could, diagnose you as mentally incompetent? Is that why they did that?
Listen. You know what's going on? They're basically selling people into experiments without their permission. That's what's going on. And they're they're killing you before you find out and sue them. That's what's going on.
Okay. Tell us about when you got out. Now, you went to go see, where was the first place you went to get out to gather your evidence about what happened to you? You started to search to see what happened.
I went to two radiological places, and they found paramagnetic materials inside my thoracic cavity and in my ear canals.
Right. Okay. So you went to see a doctor by the name of Albert Duncan, right?
Right. That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
That's a family doctor.
He wrote you a prescription for an MRI
I told him what I wanted, and he did it for me. Yeah.
Okay.
I told him what I wanted, and he did it for me, yeah.
Right. Now, you went to see Diagnostic Imaging Associates, a Brooklyn lab.
Right.
And they reported that the MRI of the chest was performed. And they said that these images revealed the presence of a paramagnetic foreign body artifact noted in the region of the left anterior chest wall at the level of the axilla. Is that how they pronounce it?
Axillary, yeah, axillary.
Okay, so they found a device in that area. Okay,
Right.
So you consulted with a neurologist who had worked with your mother. I guess your mother worked in a neurology office or something like that?
So it was a nursing administrator, and she knew some doctors and stuff. I went to one of them.
Now you went to. I guess this guy's name was Dr. Jayesh Kamdar.
Yeah. He gave me another RX to go get a scan, and that's when they found the other things in my auditory canal.
Okay, so he referred you to Manhattan Diagnostic for a CAT scan.
Right.
So
he didn't refer. I went to these places. I chose my own place. They just gave me the RX, and I chose where I wanted to go.
Yeah, understood. Back then you needed a referral to go see somebody, but they didn't actually refer. I'll tell you one thing. This is just my personal comment to you. You were very lucky to get any kind of medical evidence at all. And the people who performed these scans obviously were honest people at that particular moment in time.
You know why? I went in there with compelling. I said, look, I have a lawsuit, and there's something inside me. I let them know I know what's going on. They had no doubt. They didn't want to lose their jobs and their licenses. You couldn't go in there acting like you didn't know. You're doing an inquisition without being stern about what the hell you're looking for. They just pass you over. They could disconnect the damn one wire that it wouldn't even scan what you want.
Yeah. So the resulting report from the MRI and CT CAT scanning, Inc. revealed the bilateral external auditory canals demonstrate dense rectangular-shaped metal foreign objects, and I can't read this part, but it said the findings is uncertain clinical correlation is suggested. Now, back in the days when people were implanted in the 80s, okay, they weren't using some of the devices that they use today. They are using some of them, but they're back then they were made out of metal, like titanium objects and things like that, so it was probably easier to find in an MRI than they are today because they use nanopolymer and all kinds of synthetic devices. They can be located, okay, for the listening audience, but back then that's why Mr. Rongi has the metal ones inside the ears, which were the cochlear implants that they found in this specific scan, just to let people know that.
Let me tell you what's going on right now. We have a hypocrisy that's occurring right now. All these professionals who took oaths to do the right thing by the public, they're lying. That's all it takes is for them to say they didn't see anything. How are you going to prove that they saw it?
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? You're not a doctor, so you got to go along with what they say. There's a bunch of liars. They're lying to people.
Well, a lot of problems is, too, that they're also...
They will tell you have cancer and let you die with that thing. You understand what I'm saying?
I agree with you.
I turn you into a damn experiment.
They are not going by the Hippocratic Oath. They are working with the Department of Justice and these assassination programs to cover up the criminal activity that has already been perpetrated against you. Absolutely.
That's right.
I agree 100%. And I think a lot of people who are already targeted individuals understand that. They also understand that they can, at this particular moment in time, go to an MRI, a CAT scan, or an X-ray and not show the correct information. That the technicians involved will sabotage these things so the evidence does not come into play and the target still remains gaslighted by the criminals who have been perpetrating these crimes against you. Absolutely. That's what happens today. Now, according to this, let's see, Duncan offered to refer you to a few physicians who could remove the implants for you, but you didn't have the sufficient funds at the time to cover such an operation.
No, that's not the situation.
No?
I had a gentleman that was working with me, Reverend Phil Valentine. We went to several doctors, ENTs, and we told them that the court said that we need to videotape the operation to remove it, and we need to recover the evidence. And all of them don't want to give us the evidence once they take it out. They're not agreeing to give us what they take out. They're not agreeing to that, and they don't want us to videotape what's going on either. So that's right there. It shows you there's a big conspiracy.
Right. So in other words, you were not allowed to produce any of removed implants or any kind of filming involved with it.
It's their property.
Right.
It's just once they take it out, it's theirs. That's what they're saying. Which is, when they take out your tumors, you don't get it to take home, do you? They keep it.
Yeah.
Check into that. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's no joke.
Right.
You can't believe it. Something that comes out of your body is theirs. I don't know how that becomes a reality. They're full of crap.
Okay. This has taken place a period of many, many years. Mr. Rongi has a lot of information here, so we're going to take this step by step succinctly so you understand the nature of the beast and what they did to him. This horrible, horrible thing here. Okay, now he had x-rays. The doctor said there are certain sinuses in the bone grooves where something is implanted in the maxillary area. Now, those are, you know, I know about these. I mean, I'm speaking as a targeted individual myself with a very similar situation to Mr. Rongi, so I can understand what he's talking about here. But for people that don't, they can insert through the nose, and that is the quickest way to enter the brain area without literally cutting open your head to get into the brain, okay, without drilling a hole or whatever. The easiest way to get into the brain is through the nasal cavity, okay? So that's where he noticed that there were some grooves made inside that area. Okay?
Sir, can I interject?
Sure, sir. This is your interview. Please do.
Listen, there's a new method of surgery, which is it's a concealment type of surgery. It's called an intra-transtracheal operation. All right, an intratracheal operation is an operation which is done through the back of your throat, okay? And you won't see that. And then they codify the opening with a laser, and you can't eat for a certain amount of time because the scar, it will open up. You understand? It has to heal. It has to seal it, but it happens fast, phenomenally fast. Right? They make the incision there, and then they can fish anything they want in your body, into your cranium, on your brainstem, down into your thoracic cavity. They get access anywhere. Also, a lot of people die from heart attacks because they have a remote-controlled pacemaker, which sends a large voltage down the cardiac nerve and just arrests your heart.
Right, right. They can use these prosthetics not only to help people, but they can do things to the prosthetic. Yeah.
It's called the world's easiest murder, where they kill you with a heart attack by putting a remote pacemaker, and when they send that voltage across your cardiac nerve, that's the end of your heart. It defibrillates. Sometimes it doesn't start back. It just goes knock out the control between the RAS, the reticular activating system, which is your lower brainstem that controls the beat of your heart. When that gets knocked out, it's hard to recover that rhythm again. Arrhythmia. That's what you're going to get, an arrhythmia.
That's probably why they tell a lot of people who have pacemakers and things like that not to go through airport x-rays and other types of microwave situations.
Right.
So these people can turn around with a person who is probably, in need of a prosthetic device. They can use that prosthetic device as a target weapon against that person. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, understand something. These are medical prosthetic devices that were funded by the U.S. government and funded and manufactured and researched and developed by private agencies as well as governmental agencies, okay, and condoned by the National Institute of Health and other agencies within, the area of government. The criminal activity is what has taken place within agencies such as the CIA, the DHS, and organized crime. Okay, organized crime works with the federal government. They have worked, it's been proven before, they've worked with the CIA, they've worked with the FBI in literally assassinating people, and that's no lie.
All right. Barakatah Yahweh Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh Yahweh Shai. Kal Halal Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutation to Allah Akim out there that's doing the work in sincerity and charity with humiliation, risking their lives and freedom to do so. So this is just an article I came across. As you can see, it's a pretty old article, and I was here just thinking about this. So I said, let me type in something to see something here, so like I said, this is an old article, and they want to implant, a microchip in violent prisoners, which the goal is here to chip the whole world, So without further ado, let's get into this article, and then I'm going to get into the scriptures, what I mean? It says here, government wants to implant microchip in violent prisoners. All right. It says here, With 2 convicted killers still on the run in New York, it seems to have gotten the lawmakers thinking of ways to prevent future escapes. Their idea is to implant GPS tracking device into all violent offenders. You know, it says Senator Katie Marchini says it would make good sense for the state to start using technology like the embedded microchips to track some prisoners. You know, the Saratoga Country Republic spoke on the issue during an interview Friday on Capitol Tonight, in which she discussed the recent escape of Richard Matt and David Sweet, 2 convicted killers from the Clinton Correctional Facility in Denmark. All right. So you see that they want to implant these microchip into these prisoners. All right. And we know what the Bible say. So you niggas out there that's committing these dangerous crimes, you know, or crimes in general, all right, you better tread lightly on this, you know what I mean, because you go into these prison system and you go into the, like I say, into these prison system, the goal is to have you chipped, all right, so you gotta be very, very, very careful, you know, on the little things and things we do. You know, because sometimes, you know, we see these stinking party rollers pull us over for small little, you know what I mean, little infractions, you know, and so you gotta be careful, be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove, you know. It says, yeah, we heard the Clinton Country District Attorney suggest that maybe all prisoners should have GPS tracking system attached to them, embedded in them. Host Liz Benjamin said. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, this is not only for violent offenders. You see what I'm saying? Or violent prisoners. This is for anybody who get into the prison system. All right? As small as it is. As simple as stealing a candy. All right? It says you can get a microchip placed underneath the skin of your pet. So perhaps that would be something that you think the legislator might look at, you know, which he's right, and this is something this have to come true because the scripture says that he calls it all, you know, both small and great, rich and poor, free and born. All right, so there's no getting around this, and this is coming, you know. Yeah. So it goes on. It says, I think it's something that we have to have a conversation about, Martin reply. And I think that if you've got convicted murders type of people that these men are, that it would make good sense at that level, you know, that we should have something that we could track them, you know, and that's the whole point, like I said, is to once you get into these systems, once you get into these systems, they're gonna chip you. All right, and I'm gonna jump to this last paragraph here. It says, could this be the government using a disaster to push their socialist agenda? How long before they attempt to start implanting tracking chips in all who are detained for even non-violent offenses, like I say, as simple as stealing a candy? All right. In the past, we've heard many rumors surrounding the government plan to implant everybody with these devices. So that is the goal, you know. So you niggas out there that's getting yourself in a little petty infraction, what could be avoided by keeping your mouth shut. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So you gotta use wisdom in this, man. So little simple infractions, like I say, that could be avoided. Just keep your mouth shut rather than running on with the officers. You know? Keep your mouth shut because this is coming. All right? Be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. All right? This is the book of Revelation 13 and 16. It says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. You know, like I just brought this out, this article, you know. It says government wants to implant microchip in violent prisoners. So we see in the prison system, there's no getting away from this. All right? There's no getting away from this. So if you don't take it, they're saying if you take it in your hand, it says hand. But let me get it where it says hands, and then I'm going to get the judgment for you. Right? It says Revelation 20 and 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witnesses of Yahushai, and for the word of the Most High, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, plural. And they live and reign with Hamashiach 1,000 years. All right, so it says hands. All right, so don't be damn simple thinking, oh, it's a right hand, you know. It says hands. So let me get the judgment now. If you take that, you know. So this is Revelation 14 and 9. And I heard it, and I heard the third angel, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and with brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So you're going to be destroyed.